Hey guys. Today I am respooling one. Well, I'll show you how to respool one of my fishing rods. Um, this is a Shakespeare, and I've already taken all of the old line off of it, as you can see. So I'm going to be respooling this rod. It's a Shakespeare. I also have a loose reel and an eagle claw rod here. I may do this one as well, but we're going to start with my Shakespeare. So let's talk a little bit about um, the type of line that I am going to be putting on my Shakespeare. On the Shakespeare, I'm going to use this braided line, Contra 30-pound braided line. Um, I love braided line because it cuts through weeds, it cuts through um, just small, thin little branches it can break. And then sometimes when I get stuck, I can pull with this braided line and still keep all of my lures and hooks and weights instead of it everything just popping off and ending up in the water, and then I'm then having to re hook everything onto my line. So anyways, this particular spool of line, it has this little suction cup on the bottom of it, and the top has this little um, just a little real thing, but it's for the suction cup, and you can turn that suction cup to if you want to just kind of tighten this line back onto here. Also, I'll tell you a little bit about this braiding line. It's more of a army green color, so it kind of disappears in the water. And I use this line to catch like catfish, um, big bass, and things like that. Okay, so we'll get started first with our reel. You have to first open this bail. This is called the bail. You open the bail, um, and then you begin by tying a piece of this line onto the bail. I'm sorry, onto the reel, and you're going to knot. I like to do a double knot. My bail is open. I'm going to make sure that my line, hold on, there we go. I am going to wrap my line around the bail, and I have about 8 to 10 inches here that I'm going to work with. I'm going to take that tag in and I'm going to tie it around the end that is on my reel, and I'm going to pull it all down to the bottom here. I'm going to start reeling from here. So after I pull it around and tie it once, I am then going to tie it again. So I'm going to tie it into a knot twice. And then after I do that, I'm going to cut off this tag end. And y'all, braided line is very hard to, well, it's not very hard to cut, but it's hard to cut. So make sure you have some sharp scissors. After I have tied my knot, this one is not quite as tight as I would like it to be, but I'm sure it'll still work. I'm going to close my bail and make sure that my line that I am reeling onto my reel, that it is under this little groove. There's a little groove right there on the bail, and you want to make sure it's in there because it's a guide. It guides the line onto the reel. So I told you guys about this little suction cup on the bottom of here. And so that is to help your line stay suction to whatever surface you're going to be reeling from. I have this protective material on my table, so I'm actually just going to suction it to the floor, and I'm just going to step on it so that it stays there. So I'm going to suction it down to the floor. All right, it's in place now. Now I'm going to apply just a tad bit of pressure, and I'm going to bring my hand up on this. The line is between my hand and the reel, and I'm just going to add a little bit of pressure, not a lot. And the reason why I'm bringing it up from here, up to here, is to make sure that my line is not going to get, the line that I am reeling onto the rod is not going to get tangled in the line that is coming off of the spool. Okay. So after I do that, I am going to start reeling. And this is one of those rods. If you see, you can see I have my tension here guiding the line, that it automatically goes up and down and keeps your line from bulking up in one spot. Okay. Okay. So as you can see now, I can go a little bit faster because my line is starting to accumulate. And one thing that I have learned after re-spooling reels is this. I used to put a bunch of line on my reel, these small reels, and it would be protruding past this little lip here. And you can't let it, let me see if I can get you guys to see that little lip. Oh, I think that was it. You can see it. Hold on. I'm going to move my, there we go. If you can see that little lip, there's a little lip right here that you don't want to go past. The angle, there we go. You can see it really good right there. All right. So don't fill your reel so much that the line goes past that lip and that it's bulky on your rod. And also make sure you keep a little bit of tension because you want the line to go on evenly so that when you start to fish and throw out, cast your line, it comes back on evenly. So this up and down motion of the gears also helps with that because it doesn't allow the line to go on in just one place. So when I finish adding this line, I'm going to show you guys how deep I have it. Okay. Not how deep, how thick I have my line on here. So this particular spool had about 150 yards on it. I'm probably just going to do about 75 yards of line on here. You see, you see this, there's a little kink right there. And applying this pressure right here also keeps those kinks from forming on your reel. Okay. All right. These are just things that I learned and mistakes that I made in the beginning. All right. So I think I have a fair amount on there. So I am going to cut off this line and I'm going to come closer and show you how much line I have and how I did not go past that lip. I did not go past that little lip right there, if you can see it. Okay. Now, so if you fill this past that lip and it's so thick that the line is protruding out and it's super thick, you're going to have a bunch of kinks and a bunch of struggles because your line is going to get tangled on your reel. It's going to start getting tangled down here and bunched up and messed up, and you're going to have to cut past that. All right, so that's it for showing you guys how to re-spool your reel. And again, I use the Contra braid line. And I'll tell you why I use that line, because I catch a lot of catfish and I love this line does not break easily. But also if I'm fishing for crappie, I also use this line. Sometimes I'll put a leader on the end to hide the line, even though this line here kind of camouflages with the water and the surroundings, depending on what kind of water you're in pond water or lake water. If the water is not blue, this will disappear. Anyways, this line is thick enough that um it doesn't have that give that the fluorescent line and the omni line and the mono line has. It doesn't have that give, so you can feel every little hit, every little bump that you might get, which is amazing for catching your fish and not missing a hit. All right, guys, please like and subscribe to my channel. Please make sure that you watch my other videos, and be blessed.